Manatee. Introduction. Many years ago, sailors told stories about mermaids or sea sirens. They were beautiful creatures that were half woman, half fish. They sent sailors to lure them onto dangerous rocks. There, the soul gets shipwrecked. Early sailors saw that manatee and thought they were mermaids. Nowadays, it is hard to believe anyone could confuse a manatee with a mermaid. Manatees have a gentle and sweet appearance, but they don't look like mermaids. Description: Manatee and marine mammals. They belong to a group of mammals called Sirenia. This name comes from old belief that manatees were sea sirens. They are sometimes called sea cows because, like cows, they graze on plants for many hours at a time, and like cows, they eat a huge amount of plant food. Manatees have round, barrel-shaped bodies, and small heads. They have a paddle-shaped tail that helps them move through the water. Large from front flipper help them to steer. They have podgy, wrinkled faces that look a little like the face of walrus. They have heavy, solid bones. Scientists believe that their heavy bones keep them from floating too high in water. Manatees are not too close relatives of whales, dolphins and walruses. Even though all of these are marine mammals, they are also not closely related to pounds. The closest well-known living relative of the manatee is the elephant. There are three kinds of manatees: the Amazonian manatee, the West African manatee, and the West Indian manatee. West Indian manatee are divided into two types: Florida manatees and Antillean manatees. This map shows where manatees live today. West Indian manatee are about 3 meters long and weigh about 545 kilograms. West African manatee are about the same size. Amazonian manatees are smaller. They measure 2.7 meters or less in length. They weigh 455 kilograms or less. Habitats and habits. Manatee live in both fresh water and salt water. They prefer shallow water in bays and rivers and along ocean coasts. They prefer water temperatures higher in 20 degrees Celsius. A thick layer of blubber protects them from cold, but they still cannot survive if it gets too cold. Manatees are gentle, harmless creatures that have no way to defend themselves. Staying close to shore keeps them safe from sharks and other predators in ocean, open ocean. Manatees migrate or travel between summer and winter feeding grounds. Scientists have tracked some manatees with radio transmitters to track their movements. They tracked one West Indian manatee that traveled more than 2,400 for 2,400 kilometers from Florida to Rhode Island. He broke the record for the longest migration by West Indian manatee. Manatees spend up to 8 hours a day eating. They are vegetarians that feed on floating or underwater plants. A manatee can eat up to 15% of its body weight each day. Imagine if you did that. The average person would have to almost 11.5 kilograms of food a day. Manatee also spend a great deal of time resting, up to 12 hours a day. They may rest on the surface of the water or at bottom. When resting, they can stay underwater for up to 30 minutes at a time. When they are active, they need to come up for air every 3 or 5 minutes. Manatee most mostly live alone and often play alone. They may roll over and over in the water, swim on their backs or body surf. Even though they don't live in herds, the search for warm water sometimes brings them together. Manatees often gather in large numbers near power plants that give off heated water. Dozens of manatees may be found together because the warm water feels good to them. While manatees are loners, they do sometimes get together. When they do, they get along well with each other. Sometimes manatees seem to kiss each other when they meet. They also nibble and groom each other. They often touch, flippers and roll together as though they are dancing. Manatees talk with each other using chirps, squeaks, squeals, and whistles. They may make noise when they are playing, when playing or scared, or to greet other manatees. Noises also help a mother and baby stay in con- contact with each other. Like other mammals, manatee mothers give birth to live young. A baby manatee is born between 12 to 13 months after it begins to grow. It is about 1 meter long at birth. It is born underwater and must be brought to the surface right after birth to breathe air. The mother dunks their baby underwater several times to teach it how to go underwater and come back to the surface. A baby manatee begins to eat plants a few weeks after it is born. It may also keep drinking its mother's milk for up to 2 years. Threats to survival. All manatees are in great danger of becoming extinct or dying out completely. Their numbers are low because many reasons. One reason is that they have been hunted for food and for hides. Manatees also can die when they get trapped in fish nets. In Australia, They sometimes die when they get caught in nets placed along beaches to protect swimmers from sharks. One of the biggest dangers to manatee comes from power boats. Many boaters ignore signs about staying away from areas where manatee live. Manatee move slowly and cannot escape a speeding boat. Boat propeller can injure or kill a manatee. Another threat to manatees comes from pollution of water they live in. Pes- Pesticides and other chemicals dumped in water can be poisonous to manatees. Laws have been passed to protect manatees. Areas have been created to protect them. Many groups are working to save manatees. They are trying to educate people about these gentle creatures and threats to their survival.